Usually, after the advent of surveillance cameras, escaping a crime is nearly impossible. Police and investigators in any moderately developed or better country can find a criminal even with the slightest clue. However, there are situations where the perpetrator seems to vanish or behave so mysteriously that even with millions of pieces of evidence, they remain uncaught. Today, we have such a situation where our main criminal did everything perfectly, yet was caught on a surveillance camera in a way that allowed his face to be seen and for him to be arrested on the day of the investigation. But due to some anomalous circumstances, the police still have not been able to find this person. He is not in any databases and no one had heard of him. Today, I will tell you all the details and share various theories about this case. Hello everyone, welcome to my channel where I talk about strange phenomena and crimes from different parts of the world. If you find this interesting, please subscribe to my channel and I wish you all an enjoyable viewing experience. Today's incident took place in an unpopular city in Japan called Ota. This city has the status of a special city, meaning that its leaders have some autonomy in relation to the country and its rulers. But this does not change the fact that the same Japanese people with the same laws live in the city. For example, you may or may not know that gambling and casinos are banned in Japan because they cause addiction and distract people from life. However, there are gaming machines in Japan that are very popular due to this law. They are called pachinko. This machine can be considered like a casino because it has the same conditions as a casino. But here, in the case of winning, the player does not receive money but game balls, which cannot be exchanged for money or taken home, but can be legally exchanged for prize tokens that can be sold to other people for real money outside the parlor. It is essentially a casino, but it's not considered one by law, which is why pachinko parlors are always full of people. In one of the pachinko parlors in Ota on July 7th, 1996, a young family decided to go for a walk. The father and mother, like other Japanese people, were avid players of such machines. However, they did not come to this parlor for this reason, but because they saw a flyer on one of the streets for the Tanabata Thanksgiving Day. This holiday is usually called the Star Festival because its main feature is fireworks of various kinds, from small to large and from expensive to cheap. Since this family lived with only their two daughters, there was no one to leave them at home and they were not of the age to be independent, and the parents wanted them to enjoy the day out as well. The older daughter was 4 years old and the younger one was just 7 months old. The older daughter, Yukari, could speak clearly at this age but did not quite understand what was happening. Therefore, when they passed by the prize corner of the store, Yukari's father bought her fireworks, which she chose based solely on appearance to keep her from getting bored. But then, the father and mother sat down to play pachinko to win a prize for their daughters. At one point, they became engrossed in a game. The younger sister was in her mother's arms and Yukari was playing near her parents and wandering around the store. The parents played pachinko until lunchtime and only noticed the time because they started to feel hungry. After that, they got off the gaming machine and went to buy something. The mother decided to get a bento, a lunchbox, for her daughter and took Yukari and her sister to the parking lot, where they ate lunch in a car. But Yukari was not hungry at that time, so she did not want to eat. After her sister finished eating, they immediately went back inside. Back inside, the mother started playing pachinko again. After a while, Yukari approached her mother to say that she was now hungry and wanted to eat her lunch, but she did not want to go back to the car. So with a sigh, the mother decided to buy her a rice ball and orange juice and seated her on a couch in a lounge so she could keep an eye on her while playing pachinko. The couch was about 3 to 4 meters away from the mother, so she had no worries about her daughter's safety. However, if a tragedy is destined to happen, it will not spare you no matter how careful you are, and that is precisely what happened. As I mentioned, although Yukari could speak and explain everything she had in mind, she still did not understand much because she was only 4 years old. That's why at 1:40 p.m. she approached her mother and started talking about some uncle. Tired of being distracted by her daughter many times, the mother said things like everything will be fine or I don't understand and just brushed her off. According to her, she really did not understand because it was noisy in the lounge. Moreover, Yukari was affectionately and sweetly calling the man uncle uncle, which led the mother to think she was talking about a relative. As in Japan, people generally call their mother's and father's brother uncle. It seems she was referring to someone else, but since the mother did not understand and brushed her off, Yukari returned to the couch and waited for her parents. The mother was sure that Yukari went back to the couch and continued playing. 10 minutes later, Yukari's mother turned around and did not see her daughter on the couch. Thinking that she might have just not seen her or that Yukari decided to wander around the store, the mother decided to go closer to the couch to check. There she found her daughter's half-eaten snack and orange juice. Fear gripped her entire body and she rushed to tell Yukari's father that their elder daughter was missing. Together they searched the lounge, bathrooms, parking lot, between cars, and even under cars, but could not find their daughter. In their panic, the couple did not realize how quickly an hour had passed. By 2:40 p.m., they drove to the police station and reported that their daughter had gone missing in the pachinko parlor within 10 minutes. At first, as usual, the police told them not to panic and said things like, "Don't worry, it's just a child, she's probably wandering around somewhere," and so on. But although she was a child, she was not entirely at an age of full awareness. The police quickly got to work to avoid losing important evidence. Moreover, this was not news to the police, as studies shows that around 30 children had died in such parlors while their parents were playing, but Yukari's case was special. For the next 2 days, more than 70 police officers repeatedly searched the area, but all their efforts were in vain, so they resorted to questioning people and reviewing surveillance footage. Everyone in the hall was asked if they knew any information about her or had seen her that day, but people were so engrossed in playing pachinko that day noticed nothing but the screens in front of them, making questioning them a waste of time except for one person. That witness, who went out for a smoke, saw a child matching Yukari's description getting into a white car around the same time she was thought to have disappeared. When reviewing the launch's surveillance footage, the police saw a stranger sitting next to her, talking to Yukari, but the camera did not clearly show his appearance, so the police looked at the footage from the pachinko's parlor's exterior camera. He entered the parlor at 1:27 p.m., the same time Yukari and her mother did. He appeared to be about 158 centimeters tall, wearing sunglasses, a hat, sandals, and a black jacket, and was likely between 30 and 50 years old. He immediately went to the bathroom, where he stayed for 5 minutes before approaching Yukari and talking to her very attentively. In some frames, he whispered something in her ear and pointed toward the lounge entrance. At one point, he walked back and forth along the aisle where Yukari's mother was playing. Then at 1:42 p.m., he got up from the couch and left. Around the same time, Yukari stood up and told her mother about this uncle, who is the man in question. After her mother brushed her off, not understanding what she was saying, Yukari returned to the couch and then immediately went to the entrance and left. Her last known location was captured by the lounge's surveillance cameras, but for some reason she was not seen on the parking lot cameras. The police could do nothing further, as there were no more clues. The case remained open. Later, posters were issued asking for help in finding the potential criminal, and consequently, Yukari. The posters showed his unclear face and body structure along with his height next to pictures of Yukari and sketched by an artist. The Oda City Police offered a reward of 6 million yen for his capture, but no one found him. There was not even a single clue, and the police were not sure if the man in sunglasses was connected to Yukari's disappearance. But in any case, even if he were caught, the police could question him since he was the last person to see Yukari. According to the clerk at the pachinko parlor, this man was a new customer, but this was uncertain because he walked around the store as if it were not his first visit. Also, many said this criminal resembled the main suspect in a case in the city of Ashikaga, where a similar incident occurred. There too, a 40-year-old girl named Mami Matsuda went missing. The suspect in that case behaved similarly, suspiciously talking to a child, and Mami was later found dead in a river. There was also a possibility that the culprit could be a woman rather than a man. To determine the perpetrator, a program analyzed the suspect's height, behavior, physique, and everything else. The behavior did not match that of a typical man. His appearance differed from that of the suspect. Subsequently, an experiment was conducted with a woman of the same build as the suspect, and results showed that she had the same appearance as this person. When citizens were asked what gender they thought this person was, most answered that it was a woman. Notably, although the average height of Japanese women is 158 centimeters, and summer was hot, wearing a thick shirt could have been a way to conceal her identity as a woman. The investigation had been conducted from the outset based on the belief that it was most likely a man, but it ended in a significant failure. It is alarming that since 1979, there have been 4 cases of little girls aged 4 to 8 being kidnapped in the cities of Oda and Ashikaga. Although they may not be related, all these girls went missing and were found dead. 2 girls disappeared from lounges, like this case, except for Yukari, who is never found. All the girls were found near or in rivers. Many believe these cases are connected. If Yukari is still alive somewhere, she would be 31 years old now and might not remember anything that happened. Her parents hope she will return home and retain her memory. The Gaming Association offers a reward of 6 million yen for information related to the disappearance of the little girl. But despite this and over 4,000 tips, there have been no updates or progress in the case. Thank you all very much for watching. Please share your thoughts in the comments. I enjoy reading them. Goodbye.